And with us now to talk about this controversy over the Cambridge cop and the Harvard scholar, Michael Eric Dyson of Georgetown University, among other things, a biographer of Barack Obama, a sociologist who's written a lot about politics and sociology, and Kathleen Parker, the syndicated columnist, I would say it's fair to say conservative columnist of the Washington Post, although she is ambidextrous, she tells me.
And, you know, because of my introduction, I suppose I'm supposed to present some conservative view, and because of my skin color, I'm supposed to see the white view. But you know, this is not a clear-cut black and white issue, I don't think. In fact, the ambidextrous conversation had to do with the fact that I could argue both sides fairly passionately. This conversation about race desperately needs to take place. Barack Obama is uniquely positioned to advance that conversation. I think he stepped in it a little bit. You know, when he got up at that first press conference and said the police acted stupidly, but first by prefacing it saying, well, I don't really know the facts and I am biased, but you know, Barack Obama was doing what I think he was being the person Obama and forgetting momentarily that he's the President Obama and everything he says matters. But he did do the right thing, coming back and saying, look, I did make this worse. I'm sorry I made it worse. He didn't say I'm sorry, but indicated as much.
But, you know, that was kind of remarkable in itself. I can never recall, and maybe one of you can, a president actually saying, I made this worse. I thought that was a very interesting moment in the history of the American presidency.
If he got the press conference question, can you think of anything you've ever done wrong or either you regret it or that it was a mistake, he would not have trouble thinking up something to say.
Let me ask Kathleen, let's suppose this had been two women. Would this have happened?
Well, no, I don't think so. I think we do have, there's a male aspect to this. There's a pride aspect to this. Guys are going to go head to head. They're going to say, look, oh yeah, well, I'll show you, buddy. Your mama. Oh yeah, well, I've got the guns and the handcuffs, so we'll show you who's boss. You know, that's males take it to a different level. I don't think it would have been the same thing. And I would say that once I was, since we're trading personal stories, I was pulled once by a female, black female traffic cop, and I got a little feisty. It was about 100 degrees. I was tired. I had a toddler in the seat, and I didn't think I was speeding, and I wanted to argue, and she indicated to me that if I didn't adjust my attitude, I'd be going to jail. And so I adjusted my attitude. It was a pretty simple thing. And, you know, if we're going to get right down to the bottom line in this case, I want to say that the man with the gun and the handcuffs and the power is the man who says, we made a mistake, see you later, or, you know, go ahead and let him have a piece of your mind if you want to, but walk away.
But look at it this way, too. If that had been not Professor Gates, but Henry Kissinger, another Harvard professor, and George Bush, the president, and he said, that's my friend, and a black sergeant arrested him, he'd be doing traffic duty right now. The police union would not stand behind him, and I think we'd have a much more different understanding and interpretation. So these things do make a difference. Class makes a difference, race makes a difference, testosterone makes a difference.
Well, and that class distinction needs to be talked about too, because when Professor Gates said, do you know who I am, you've got a black intellectual saying to a working class white guy, I'm more important than you are. You know, that sets off a whole nother set of sparks. But we were talking earlier, and we've decided that not only should we be invited to this White House encounter, but what would be interesting, the way you get to the truth is you have the opposite sides defend the person they're least likely to defend. You argue for the white cop, I'll argue for the black intellectual.
Well, what's interesting as well is that the class issue comes out this way too. It took a president and a Harvard professor to gin up enough pedigree and social status to argue against what is usually taken for the law, a white policeman. That's a class matter, too, that has to be dealt with.
I'm going to speak for the timekeeper here.
Okay.
Our time is up. Thank you both so much.